In this video, we're going to put together a schedule of expected cash collections. So let's say your company sells bottles of orange juice and you put together your sales budget for the next 4 quarters. You've got quarter 1 through quarter 4, and then you've got for the entire year. And you've got your budgeted sales in terms of units, which is bottles of orange juice. And so in the first quarter, you expect to sell 200,000 bottles of orange juice for $6 a bottle, which would lead to $1.2 million in sales. Now, here's the catch. Some of these sales are going to be made on credit. So we need to know when we're managing our cash, we need to say, okay, how much of this 1.2 million are we going to collect in the same period in quarter 1, and how much are we going to collect in future periods? Because if we're going to manage our cash, we need to know our cash receipts, right? We're going to put together a cash budget. We want to make sure at no point do we run out of cash. So we have to say, okay, we made 1.2 million in sales, but when are we actually going to receive the cash from that? So I'm going to make some assumptions here. I'm going to assume that in the period of the sale, so when you sell this 1.2 million in quarter 1, that would be quarter 1, you would collect 80%. So 80% of that 1.2 million. So that would be in quarter 1, you would get 80% of 1.2 million is $960,000. Okay. And then I'm going to assume also that in the period following the sale, the period after the sale, so in this case, for this 1.2 million in sales, it would be quarter 2, because that'd be the next quarter. And you could do this on a monthly basis and stuff too. I just broke it out into quarters. But in the next quarter, you're going to collect 20% of that. So that would be 20% of that would be 240,000. Now, to make things simple, I'm not assuming that there's going to be any bad debt in real life. There's going to be where you don't collect some of it, and you have to account for that as well. But I'm not going to focus on that here. I just want to get down to the basics. So what we are saying here is this: you're budgeting 1.2 million in sales revenue for quarter 1, but we're saying, well, we're only actually going to collect 960,000 of that 1.2 million in quarter 1. In the next quarter, in quarter 2, we're going to collect the remaining 240,000 of that 1.2 million. Plus, in quarter 2, you're then going to get 80% of quarter 2's budgeted sales revenue. Okay, so it's going to keep going. Each quarter, you're going to collect the 80% of what you sold that quarter plus 20% of the prior quarter. And then I would also need to tell you, so let's say you were doing this problem for a class or on an exam or something, you would need to know the beginning balance of accounts receivable. So let's just say that that's $40,000. If you're wondering where I got that number, I just picked it out of a hat. So there's no way to calculate this here in this example. I'm just giving it to you and saying before the first quarter even begins, the company has $40,000 in accounts receivable. And then we're just going to assume that that $40,000 is all collected in that period. So this is like from quarter 4 of the prior year, which you don't have data here for. Okay, so that 40,000 is going to be collected. And so let's see, here we've got quarter 1, we've got quarter 2, we've got quarter 3, quarter 4, and then we've got for the year. So in quarter 1, when we think about how much cash we're going to collect, we're going to collect the 40,000 of account receivable. That's from the prior quarter that was left over. And then we're going to get that 80% of quarter 1 sales, which is again $960,000. It's 80% times 1.2 million. So it's 960,000 plus the 40,000 from the prior quarter. We're going to collect $1 million of cash in quarter 1, at least pertaining to our sales. Now, quarter 2, remember, we're going to get that 240,000 from quarter 1. So that's why I set it up like this. I encourage you to do that if you use Excel or whatever your spreadsheet software is. So you've got your collections from quarter 1 sales. We're assuming here that they're going to be this is the 20% that is collected in the next period. Okay, that next period. So that's 20% of this is collected in Q2. So we've got 240,000 plus this 1.344 million, 1,344,000. That is 80% of quarter 2's budgeted sales of 1.68 million. Okay, so this is 80% times 1,680,000. So this is basically for quarter 2, the cash collected is the 80% of this period's sales and then 20% of the last period's sales. And then it's the same, it works the same way for quarter three. We're going to collect 80% of quarter three's budgeted sales, which is 1.5 million. 80% of that is 1.2 million, plus 20% of the prior period sales. And then we're going to do the same thing for quarter four. The quarter four collections are going to be 20% of the prior period sales. So 20% of 1.5 million is 300,000, plus 80% of quarter four's budgeted sales, which is 80% times 1,140,000. So then now we've got here in this row, I put, this is the total for each quarter. So this is what, when you actually go to put together your cash budget and you're looking at your cash receipts, you don't just take the sales revenue, unless the company makes 100% cash sales, you wouldn't just take the sales amount from the sales budget and plug it into cash receipts in the cash budget. You make the schedule expected cash collections. And so this amount here for quarter one, when you're looking at your cash receipts on the cash budget, you would say, oh, we collected $1 million of cash from sales in quarter one. In quarter two, 1.584 million. Quarter three, 1.536 million. And then quarter four, 1.212 million. Now, if you add up for the entire year, if you look at the year, we started with 40,000, and then here's the collections from the different periods and so forth, and I already showed why that was relevant. But the total cash collected throughout the year, $5.332 million. And so these are the amounts. This is the amount that would be relevant when you go to put together that cash budget and you're looking to make the cash receipts section.